had this to say to his fellow graduates. As we go out, he said, let us take this as a working principle. Do the duty that lies nearest to you, and let it be done honestly and thoroughly. If we do this, then perhaps our living in this world will not be altogether in vain. Well, this morning, Mr. Justice Rand's successors are going to speak with us. In that vein, I should say we're doing something that we've never done before, and that is to have co-valedictorians. I suppose that if there's any year in which to do it, it's our golden anniversary year. As I said at the outset, we're going to hear two students, Jacob Kaufman, who was a vice president of the Students' Legal Society, our student council, and Chris Crighton, who was also a vice president of the Students' Legal Society. Moreover, Jacob edited our daily e-newsletter at the law school, while Chris was our official blogger. He wrote Legally Blog. And I say this to emphasize that what links them, apart from personal friendship, is a real commitment to the law school and an instinct for engagement with their community and a flair for leadership. So can you join me in welcoming our 2010 co-valedictorians? Chris Crighton.
So, good morning and welcome to Western's semi-centennial graduation. Thank you very much, Dean Holloway, Associate Dean Link, Associate Dean Terry, honored members of the faculty, other members of the faculty, staff, families, and guests for joining us. And thank you to the Convocation Committee and everyone else who's worked so hard to make this such a special day. I'm very humbled and honored to be one of your valedictorians, and it means a lot to be standing up here with many members of my family present, including my 94-year-old grandfather. So thank you very much. And it also means a lot to me to be standing up here with Chris Crighton, a true gentleman and scholar. The first time I heard Chris speak, he unfurled 3 ties. I don't think he's doing that today, but it's made me always want to hear more and hear what he has to say. And he's contributed so much to the school. Along with Ken, actually, Chris is one of the only people to have served 3 years on the Law Society every year. So, but before you hear him speak, I have a couple things to say to you. So on behalf of all of us, the class of 2010, we are all honored to have been part of this community. And as Dean Holloway said, it is a community. It's a place where people help each other, work with each other, for the most part like each other. And it's a place that each and every one of you has helped make better. You've joined committees that have done everything from put on our wonderful 50th anniversary law ball to running our amateur sports leagues that help uphold the motto of mens sana in corpore sano. You have written for the amicus curiae, competed in and judged moots, recruited speakers from around the world, written our wonderful yearbook, toiled in the SLS, shared your culture and ideas through our myriad clubs. And finally, you performed at Obiter Dicta, raising over $30,000 over the year for Hospice London, and impressed on me personally how little talent I have. And you've done all this in your copious spare time in between studying for this honorable profession. And this is an honorable profession. As Anthony Cimolino mentioned, the expression kill, first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers, is a very popular one. I know at least one of us has that on a t-shirt. But as Dean Holloway pointed out in Foundations, it's widely misinterpreted. It was said by Dick the Butcher, a rather unsavory character who was suggesting ways to establish a tyranny. But I think this raises more questions. Why is it so widely misinterpreted? Why are people so willing to believe the worst of lawyers. After all, my favorite thing from studying for the bar, well, maybe second favorite, learning the expression kindly satisfy yourself. Pretty great, but I think probably my favorite thing was why they told us to avoid indiscreet shop talk. And they said to do this, even if, no confidential information was revealed. Because if a member of the public overheard, that person's respect for the legal profession might be lessened. And I think it's so significant that the Law Society, our governing body, cares so much about one person losing their faith in the legal profession, that they would enshrine this in their official materials. So we have a fundamental disconnect here. On the one hand, our profession tries hard to win the respect of the public. On the other hand, a public that still has skepticism about our profession. Why? Now, in Plato's Apologia, Socrates said that one of the attacks on him was that he made the weaker argument defeat the stronger, which is our job. All of us will have to try to do this in our professional lives. And luckily, unlike Socrates, we probably won't be put to death for it. But many members of the public have a bit of, they recoil from the idea that a case, which they would say, well, obviously somebody's right and somebody's wrong. Yet we have here two lawyers, each passionately arguing to one side, and each who gladly would have argued the other side had their clients been reversed. Now, I respect the fact that they can recoil from this, but I think it's wrong to do so. Because I think representing our clients to the best of our abilities is the most ethical duty that we perform. Because if we knew who is right and who is wrong, we wouldn't need a legal system. Each case has two sides, two people who deserve to have someone represent them in their interests. Because if we, even for a moment, start to prejudge our own clients and to not give them the full representation they deserve because of that, we have doomed the legal system. Even if we are totally convinced of the wrongness of their case, once an exception is made, it will not stop there. The Borg, as it were, won't stay on deck 16. Thank you. So, it should be our duty, not just to work hard and represent our clients to the fullest, but also to educate the public on why this is a high ethical standard. Now, I realize I'm talking about lawyers, not all of us will practice law, but don't worry, Dick the Butcher's crew also wanted to kill the scholars, who were lumped in with their lawyers as fellow false caterpillars. So before I go, I'd like to share a story that I think applies to all of us that my rabbi told me about a man who asked the First Nations elder for advice. And I realize we have to avoid the implicit Orientalism in talking about the wisdom of other people's cultures, so I guess it should be Occidentalism. Anyways, he asked him, elder, yes, why do people do what they do? And the elder said, well, inside each of us, there are two wolves fighting. And one wolf is hate, laziness, mendacity, and evil. And the other is compassion, competence, truthfulness, and good. And it is which wolf that is winning that determines what we do. He gets up to leave. And I said, wait! The elder turns back and said, but which wolf wins? And the elder looked at him and said, the one you feed. So I wish every one of you the best of luck in your endeavors, but please, feed the right wolf. Thank you.
I just agree with everything Jacob said. Except the Occidentalism bit. I don't. I do echo all of Jacob's sentiments and welcome you all, though it's great to see so many faces. Now, before getting to the part of the speech where I do my best to inspire in you a tingling sense of accomplishment with a combination of Dr. Seuss's "Oh, the places you'll go," and a substantial helping of pompous and self-aggrandizing language, there are a few people here who deserve far more recognition than I. First off, Desiree, my hairstylist. Who boldly decided on the eve of my law school graduation to make me look like a 6-year-old. Now, to be fair, she did give me a sucker for being a very good boy. So I really shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. And also, very quickly, to Mr. Chris Cummins for printing my speech for me. If anyone is looking to get me a late graduation gift, a printer would supply. Many thanks and much admiration to the Convocation Organizing Committee. I imagine that putting a day like this together is no small feat. The seating instructions alone look as if they required a master's degree in civil engineering. To Dean Holloway, the faculty and staff of Western Law, we, quite literally, couldn't have made it to this point without your guidance and enthusiasm for our legal education. I'd like to think that you brought out the best in all of us, no matter how loudly you complained about the amount of reading, the format for signing out exams, or the grading curve. And to Jacob Kaufman, it is my great pleasure to share the podium with you today. You are one of the great wits of this graduating class, not to mention one of our most thoughtful and intelligent. I was certain that you were going to best me in the race. I feel lucky to have somehow convinced half of you that I am Jacob's equal. If nothing else, I think it was a bit of tricky lawyering on my part. Now, I would like you to think back to September 4th, 2007. If you're like me, it was a nervous morning. You were up early. You hastily shoveled down a bowl of Weetabix. It's a grown-up cereal for a grown-up day. You tied your necktie in a near-perfect half-Windsor, and you checked its symmetry not once, not twice, but thrice before leaving your tiny, humid apartment. After being met at the front door of the law school by some friendly strangers, you grabbed an orange juice and a miniature lemon poppy seed muffin. You took your seat in room 38 and thought to yourself, I wonder if my tie is straight. Do you recall how the dean welcomed us that morning? Do you remember feeling like you had been admitted to Hogwarts? Never mind, that's not important right now. What is important is that Dean Holloway took the time to point out the more intriguing details from our individual pasts. I'm paraphrasing here, but ranking among the class of 2010, something like 52 science majors, 3 people who served with the Canadian Armed Forces, a pilot, 6 licensed and 2 unlicensed private investigators, a former saloon owner, 2 members of New Kids on the Block, a cobbler from Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, the 3rd cousin of Pat Sajak, and Saskatoon's preeminent authority on the puppeteering arts. Again, I paraphrase, but you get the idea. Having worked alongside many of you these past 3 years, I worry little about our futures. I have no doubt that we will carry ourselves with the utmost integrity. We will work long hours, we will work weekends, we will work when we wish we were doing something more fun. We will help people, and we will help the profession. Of that, I am certain. But I do worry about one thing. Starting next year, what will we say when someone asks us what we do? My guess is that, without really thinking about it, we'll respond, I'm a lawyer. But why? Are we still not a pilot, a physics enthusiast, the grand poobah of Saskatoonian country? Are the things that the dean said about us in 2007 no longer true? Do they mean less now because we are to practice law for a living? Will our occupation become who we are? Have I asked too many rhetorical questions? I would like to think that maybe, just maybe, we won't identify ourselves simply as lawyers. But I'm realistic. Social custom is far too strong a tide to swim against. But if we do anything today, let's remember that we entered this place as dynamic people, and there's little reason to think that we are leaving as anything less than that. If our 3 years here could be summed up, I suggest we think of it thusly. It came and went in an instant. We learned a great many new things and had a lot of laughs. Some of it was really difficult, but most of it wasn't. The experience may have changed us each for the better, but if it didn't, I wouldn't sweat it. It happened, and now it's time for something else. As renowned Irish-American philosopher and notable ginger, Conan O'Brien said, he said, nobody in life gets exactly what they thought they were going to get. But if you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen. Which, come to think of it, is a long-winded way of saying, feed the right wolf. So I guess, Mr. Kaufman, you have bested me in the end. Everybody have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for coming.